So, good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Maz is okay here. While we are waiting for people to come in, um, how do I of this? I think things are happening. I just need to probably wait for a couple of minutes for people to come in. So let me know if you can hear me very loud and clear. Maz is okay speaking to us all. Today, Sunday, the 19th, ụbọchị ụka n'ọnwa nke January. If I want us to get to a certain number before I can commence. So as long as you hear me, let me know when you hear me. I will use the first 1 or 2 minutes to give shout outs to my fans. And I will at the same time announce to us that I will be creating my own personal channel. Yes, Mazi is going to be a YouTuber. I will be creating my own personal channel. Well, I've already done that actually that way, but that doesn't mean I would not. That doesn't mean I would not be putting my content on Njenje Media. Of course, yes, Njenje is a media company and a media outlet. But my channel will be where I will probably be, telling people about my life stories, where I will make it a more like one-on-one engagement with my fans globally. There are some things I would want us to probably, have chats, things that we can learn from each other. No one knows it all. Certainly, I do not. So in that case, we can learn from each other. So before we go on today, I want to look at, as you all have seen, the title of this is nothing but the what I have titled the protest in Imo State over the electoral magic done by the plane driver. So when I say the aeroplane driver, I believe each and every one of us know who the aeroplane driver is. Thank you very much, Emmy, Sammy, Mazi. You look good. Thank you. Very nice. Uche M. When? I don't know what when is for. Is it when my channel is coming up or when for what? So I have a quiz for everyone. I say today we are going to be checking and looking into the protest happening in Imo State caused by the aeroplane driver. And I believe each and every one of us know who the aeroplane driver is. What I want to do, probably precisely play out some clips that can help us start to appreciate what Mazi is talking about. I have been receiving videos. I am not in Imo State as we speak, but in the last couple of hours, I've been receiving pictures and videos as to what is happening in Imo State. So, and there is nothing else happening in Imo State other than the fact. So let me see if you guys, if the light doesn't blow, or I'll see if you guys can see it. Uh-oh, yeah. Okay, yes, and so what I'm going to be doing is to probably swipe left or right. Yes. So like now, you're going to be looking at, this is the protest happening in Imo State. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here is to show us this, because I don't have the technology to do much superimposition when I'm live. If not, I could edit that too. So you can see people in Imo State saying, we do not agree with this justice. And what Mazezoke will say is, I think it is a welcome development, because we have a nation called Nigeria that has decided that it will kind of prefer incompetence over competence. A nation that is particular set of people have decided to run over competency. It hurts me so much when I say this, that some of you appear not to be very good strategists, and in the thinking that we need to, it is not too much to ask for a southern Nigeria, which is much easier than any other thing. It is much easier. As a collective, we have seen what is happening in the Southwest with Amotekun, where the Southwest has formed a security outfit, and suddenly a section of the country goes hellwire. Now ask yourself, why is the South not bothered about the, when I say the South, I do not want to use a nomenclature that would get us into, arguments. I understand that we have the old Eastern region, but in the nomenclature of today, when I say South, why is it that the South are not bothered that the Yorubas in the Southwest has formed Amotekun? Why is it that the Southeast and the Middle Belt are not bothered? Think about it. Think deeper. Think. Why are they not bothered? Why are they supporting that push to have a regional outfit? Why? Why is it that only a section of this country would be having sleepless night, saying that this is against us, this is against us? If you ever are cooking and, in the process of you preparing your food, and you're putting in salt in your own food, or in your own food, not food for someone else, in your own food, and you live in a public yard, those of us that grew up in Face Me and Face You, don't look at my face. I am a proper Ajibako. I grew up in the roughest area of our nature. So forget, what eventually, what one has become. But we lived in a Face Me and a Face You. And my analogy would be the Yorubas are among those people that live in the Face Me and Face You. 16 rooms. Every one family has their own room. And you are cooking. And suddenly you're adding salt in your soup. And someone is shouting, no, it's too much. No, the salt will be too much. Stop. Or someone is saying, no, your pepper is too much. Oh, Jesus, you're adding too much pepper. Oh, I don't like too much pepper. Whoops. Whereas, every time you finish cooking, before you can get into your house and come out, your soup or your meat is missing from the pot. So what do you think has happened if someone within the quote unquote, let me just use that slang, yard, or in a public house, when someone says this has just happened, what do you think has happened? Someone has obviously been doing something that isn't right. Okay? So if someone is doing something that isn't right, you're trying to checkmate that thing that person is doing, and that person is telling you, no. Someone is shouting for so much. Then obviously, something is wrong. Something is wrong. The Southeast is not shouting. The South is not shouting. The Middle Belt is not shouting. Only one section is shouting, oh, Amotekun is against us. Against you how? I want to protect myself. I want to protect my family. The only thing about Amotekun, I'm not diverting. Listen, this judgment, this video is still about the judgment delivered by the aeroplane driver. But I'm giving us a background why we need to get to something. And if Amotekun is there to checkmate something and some people are crying foul, like the Igbo adage will say, if the witch cried at night and the baby died in the morning, obviously we should know what happened to the baby. So Amotekun is here to stay. How would that be if we have a common southern front beyond Amotekun or whatever it's called? Think about it for a minute. You have a joint inter-regional force because obviously there is one thing. If you listen to the statement by Fayemi, the governor of Ekiti State that took over from Ayo Fayeche, who incidentally is the chairman of the Governors Forum, who was the the brain behind the APC propaganda in 2014 and 2015. If you listen to him clearly, you will see what he's saying. And the reason why they have formed Amotekun is because there has been a breakdown of law and order. Yet, this is a government they control and they could not do anything. Therefore, beyond what they've done, if the whole South does the same thing, what do you think will happen? Honestly, I think I am enjoying what is happening, even when the Yorubas got something wrong. And what they got wrong, as I've said in my last week video, is I had respected the Yorubas thinking that they are smart, but with the Amotekun, I can see some flaws. When some of you, my Igbo viewers, said, oh, the Igbos are useless, they are not doing anything, I laughed because I think some of you do not understand strategy. Now, they have done something regional. There is no regional government in Nigeria today. The regions that we have today is not recognized by the Constitution. Therefore, if the regions are not recognized by the Constitution, you cannot have a regional outfit without, first of all, going in to legalize them. And I gave us examples how Anambra is, or rather was able, under P2B, to form Anambra Vigilante Services. In my community today in Anambra State, if you have a traditional marriage, if you have anything that you want to do, if you invite the police, cars are likely to be stolen. But if you invite the local vigilantes, nothing mega, nothing will happen. No car will be stolen. No bicycle will be stolen. Doesn't that tell us that security is local? It is time for the Southern unity to happen. Some of you, I know, you will say, oh, Aworowo did this, oh, this, the other one, oh, we don't want anything with the Yorubas. And I laugh. I laugh. If you give me the other section and give me the Yorubas, I think you know my choice. Reason is, we have something in common. We are Southern Nigeria. We have something in common. We could. I give you another analogy before I get into Imo State. And this is this analogy here. If JAMB was to be 300 before you get into any school, JAMB, for you to pass or for you to get into any university, you need to score 300. Which region do you think will compete with the Igbo, will compete with the Bibios, the Ijos, the Efik, the Anang, the Ogojas? Which tribe, which region do you think will compete without going for reduction in mark? Of course, when it comes, you can compete with the Yorubas. That is competition. That is where competence comes in. You cannot, if it means to be a PhD holder, see, now one PhD 30 billion by any means necessary. That is only for you. And the Yoruba will do the same thing. But there are people within this country that will not. Rather, what they will be thinking of is how do we reduce the cutoff mark from 300 maybe to 150 in order for them to flood in? And that's how we got to the mess we are in a nation. Because we have somehow yanked competence away from the real deal. And see where we are. This is driving me to my next point. How did we end up having an aeroplane driver, someone who is a CJN, someone who does not know that an aeroplane does not drive? He was asked during the time he was being interviewed in the Senate about what's it called, technicalities, and rather than get intellectually into what technicality means in law, he went talking absolutely balderdash. At the end of the day, ended up saying, if your technicality is if you're driving an aeroplane and if you're not a qualified pilot, man, how did we end up here? We ended up here by the things I told us before, because we sacrifice competence at the altar of mediocrity and nepotism. We have competent men and women, yet we are nowhere. Onoren, yes, there could be some commingling. No one knew, but the process by which former Justice Walter Onoren was removed is entirely flawed. And you thought you had an opposition, PDP, to protest. Here they were. Sometimes, honestly, people, I'm saying this, I've said this in so many forums, I'm saying it again to us. I belong to no freaking political party. I say it the way I say it. I don't care whose horse is God. I think the Ndibo actually need to rethink their engagement with the PDP. Yes, I said it. Ndibo must rethink their engagement with PDP. Because at the end of the day, the PDP doesn't necessarily play the opposition. Imagine if this happened when APC was in opposition. What do you think will happen? What do you think will happen? Today, the Imo people have started the protest. Yes, they have started protesting. And in their protest, let's hope it will increase. Honestly, I saw these, videos and pictures coming in, and I felt, man, I wish I was an Imo now, because I would join. I would be part of it to register my disgust in what is playing out. However, I'm not there. I can only give them moral support. I can only say, do what is needful, resist tyranny. That is the only way. There are things, Nigeria got into where it is today, because remember when Tafa Balewa was the prime minister, the Western region had issues with census, and they were, the Western region was in turmoil. At some point, there are times you need to come out and protest, and this is one of those. People say, the Supreme Court is infallible, is the final day star, yati, 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 and so what? Ihedioha scored what came first. INEC had results that they obviously collated. Now, you had a number that was, you had 800 and something thousand out of 2.2 million registered voters that you accredited. If you ever discard that accredited result, therefore you do not have any valid reason at all whatsoever. No valid reason to continue. The consequences, however, will be next election, if this presidency is allowed to stay, someone will go and rig election. Just make sure you stuff the ballot boxes, stuff them, get them, let the police, probably reject them, make sure they were entered, make sure you collected them, make sure they are all rejected. Then wait. A winner will be declared. You can go to Supreme Court. Cite Ihedioha versus Hope Uzodinma. Voila, boom, chaka. You become a governor. Oh my God, this place is. I think the nation called Nigeria is gone to the dogs. It's gone to the dogs. There is no nation. I have said it. I'm repeating it again. The nation has no mequatalism. People say, give us Biafra. People say, give us this. Listen, nobody will give you anything. We have to collectively fight to liberate ourselves. No one is going to give you anything. Not even a date for any referendum. No one is going to give you that to look into my face. And I'm telling you, it's not going to happen. We'll fight for it. Collectively. How do we fight for it? What is my proposition? My proposition is, let us not be singled out. We were singled out before. We will make that mistake again. This time around, let us fight it as a collective Southern Front. I don't care. The name is immaterial. One thing that I have been wanting to tell us actually is, when people say it must be this or nothing, I laugh because if you are indeed a very democratic people, then every single decision must be subject to the people's will. And when you subject a name to the people to decide, then you're not alone. Everyone will bring their name. What will the name be? It is subject to referendum because you cannot be clamoring for something else and at the same time you are planning or you believe you can do worse than what Nigeria is doing to you today. Then it's not going to work. Freedom means freedom. Freedom means the freedom to speak, the freedom to associate. If you have a new, let us begin. It's not something that will happen overnight, but it's something. In social science, there is what we call social engineering. It's something that we need to gradually begin to recondition our mind into getting to. It's not going to be by force, but it's something that we, will take a gradual process. And I have argued with some of us. Imo State has happened, yes, if we all keep quiet. And that is where we need to start reaching out. Imagine what happens in Imo State. Suddenly, the whole southern Nigeria wakes up and begin to demand, saying that they do not agree in what happened in Imo State as a collective. As a collective, your enemies, if at all they are, will have a sleepless night. But the moment Imo State will do something and Abia will say, Abasakwanai, Anambra will say, our election is coming maybe in 2 years' time, and you have division. Voila. Take, for example, the Amotekun I talked about before. All through this morning, what has been trending online is for Tinubu to speak. No one knows what Tinubu is saying on Amotekun. He hasn't spoken because there is a reason. But I think I saw something where he said it's not what Yorubas needed at this moment. Now, if truly, because I pity him, because if truly he said that, He will lose favor with certain people. If he cites his people, he will lose favor with certain people. So that's the dilemma of someone who thinks he's a master strategist. You know, at the end of the day, damn it if you do, damn it if you don't. You know, my message to Imo people is be peaceful, but civil disobedience can work. The things that has happened, it's unbelievable. Now, to those trying to crucify Father Mbaka, I think Father Mbaka, like I said, and I still believe that Father Mbaka was privy to the electoral, whatever the Supreme Court was about to give out. That's my, you know. You see, you cannot take my belief away. That's what I believe in. That's what I believe in. Because if he wasn't, the question is, he said in a video that the governor, the former governor, he had invited him to come to Imo State to pray. But for him to come, he would have gone through the bishop, and if the bishop tells him to go, he will go. Then I asked, if Ihedioha had done that and he had gone to pray, how would that have changed the aeroplane driver and the 7-man panel's decision? I found it a little bit hard, my people. Sorry, but I found it hard to call Tanko a chief justice because I found it hard. Have you seen his WAEC result? This guy could not, he barely passed three out of 9 subjects. He barely had credit in 3. And today he's our CJN. Nah, man, that'll be my own. So that's why I barely, I think the name he gave himself is more, in my worldview, is more appropriate. Okay? So I think Imo people, I've touched on a lot of things. I think one thing I'll probably have to start, I will do eventually on my own channel will be, 2020, in as much as we will be exposing the ills happening in this society, which probably begin to give guidance as the way forward as well. Because we can no longer keep quiet and let a lot of things go and people don't really speak up. We have to start. Not only me, you yourself. Every one of us, we have a mind of our own. We can always, like the other day, I was at the Port Harcourt International Airport, right? I saw that the jet bridge wasn't working. I made a video about it. I posted it. A couple of hours later, the Port Harcourt International Airport management came back to me saying, Maz, they fixed it. Okay, so, when authorities begin to know that everyone, you have your telephone, I'm encouraging you, everyone. When I eventually start my channel, one thing I would actually want to do is, we need to grow this movement of reporting things happening. Let's create the platform. We've had the platform. If you don't know how to do it, I'll get to us that either I give people my WhatsApp number, not things that trend, but things you have recorded yourself, be it a secret meeting, be it whatever. I'll tell you, we have to publish them because that is the only way we can make impact. Let us share. If you and I are incapable and are not in position of authority to make, gargantuan differences, what we can, the barest minimum we can do is to register our disgusts in things happening. There are things I have, a series of them that one has done. Believe you me, from the things I know, from the engagement I've had, say for instance on the Enugu International Airport, if I haven't done so, I bet you that airport wouldn't have been where it is today. I know the reports I get. I know the calls I get when I do that. So, and that is the only way. And the only reason I keep saying, I'm not interested in if Kaduna Airport is fixed or if Katsina Airport is fixed, if Yola Airport, honestly, I don't give a damn. Build it to be Dubai. You won't see me be there. But my constituency is the Old Eastern region. I have no apology. You can choose your own constituency, but mine, Old Eastern region, the core of it is the Igbo nation, and that's me. I have no apology, people. You know, ensure that things work. We're actually not demanding too much, just that things work. Here we are, election, we cancelled it, and no one is talking about a man that is on an administrative bail. Do you know that Hope was? Go and listen to, many of you don't even know. You know, Ezego, one of you here that you heard when Oliver the Coco were calling. Go and listen to those songs. Ndoglega Wanangwa. You will hear Hope Uzodimma's name. You will hear Ezego, one of you here. These are people, these are men. Then you know what they were doing. You know what Ezego was doing. You know, so some of them, those click. Even during the time of Otoko, you know what they were doing. I don't need to tell you what your governors were doing at that time. At least according to EFCC, not mine. EFCC said that's $12.6 million, not in naira, for dredging of Calabar Port. That he commingled them, and that means that he the money. Now the question is, if he was able to swallow $12.6 million according to EFCC, Imo State, a bill, federal allocation. I don't know what will happen to it. You see? So your new governor, there is every reason to bring sanity to the governance of the Eastern region. There is every reason. If you cannot fix Nigeria, you and I can help to fix the Southeast Nigeria. Now, I have seen a lot of comments. So what I will do now, while this video is for Imo State, in order to encourage them, the protest they are doing, I would want to read some of your comments. So if you have questions, Mazi, greetings. I can see Emisami, Timo, Mazi, Adazubi. Okay. Dazubi, the South are not bothered because they only want everything to come in planter of gold, waiting for Igbo to bring the diamond for them. Well, you see, Adazubi, I think that's, again, your comment depicts it's a video for another day, but it's a very sad comment. Please, we are both biological and landmarks from nature. We are one people. We have the same DNA. We have things in common. Please, I would beg us not to speak to one another, especially the people of the old Eastern region, in that way. Please, I beg us. And I'll say Stanley Makata Mazi, Premier Secondary School. No, not me. Our leader in Southeast is afraid, don't know their right. Okay. Okay. Are we for Nigeria today and tomorrow? Please stop whipping. We need to get things. The worst people are those in the house. Aeroplane driver, pass mark. Honestly, I must agree. But what do you expect from a bunch of people who are rubber stampers? They were there rubber stamping, and they rubber stamped him. So listen, you people, you need to you get people. We need to wake up. We need to wake up. I'm telling you, you need to wake up. This is the beginning because they are testing waters, and that's why they used Mbaka. They used Mbaka. See, I told someone when Mbaka made that prophecy was when I had expected. See, that's why I said I'm angry with PDP. PDP, Ndibo, you must take stock with PDP. PDP, I am angry with them because when I travel and traverse the Igbo nation and I see what PDP has done to us, PDP has not really built anything in Igbo nation. In the south, please don't tell me that, oh, this road was given to Onyibo, I didn't build it. That is absolute nonsense. There are procedures by contract award. Then you award those contracts, you monitor. You don't just tell me you award it to one person and you keep quiet. No, things are not done that way. Yeah. Now, I was driving between. Last week. No, last 2 weeks. I was driving between Okigo and Omaya. That road was really fantastic. And I was telling someone, he said, well, sadly, was done by Buhari with Suku's loan. No matter, even if I don't like the man, but at the end of the day, you can't take it away. Yet we had PDP governors in Abia State. We had Ojuzokalu PDP, Theodoji PDP, Ibazu PDP. Yet Abia State is getting, from bad to worse, retrogressing. You've been supporting PDP, yet PDP cannot, in this 2023, they cannot zone Igbo president to the southeast. Throw away your PDP membership card. Yes, I finally said it. Maazị Ezoke said it. It's me. Look at my face. If PDP cannot zone 2023 to Ndibo, throw away your PDP nonsense. What for? A party you've been supporting since 1999, and look at what they did to Ekweme in 1998 in Jos. So suddenly you guys will not wake up. Listen, these things, no, as long as we do not have a nation of our own, we must be strategic and engaged so that we must no longer allow those cucumbers and carrots to govern us. We must allow people with gray matters in between their skulls to govern us. We cannot afford to allow those, they have nothing to offer rather than to live extravagant life. That's why when the protests in the whole Southeast before the proscription of IPOC was happening, I said, and I wrote against it, and I come up with what I call the even within the Biafran concept, what I call the Biafran concept, the Biafran template. It's very simple. You cannot be criticizing without finding solution. Myself, during the time of Ngige, the community secondary school in my community was so bad. I felt like it was, a bomb has fallen in that community secondary school. Listen, if you Google the video today. In as much as I complained, I wrote a protest letter to Ngige. Eventually, Ngige was removed. When Peter came in, I did the same. But at some point, myself and some of my German friends and my university then in Germany, we fixed the school. That is solution. Then, after the school was fixed, Peter came to commission it. I sold the template done in Ezinifite. Go to any single school in Anambra, you see under P2B, a classroom block was renovated. Yes. This is the man behind that project you saw, that a classroom block was renovated in every town in Anambra State. These are solutions. So if a group has the number, what you can do is you coordinate yourself and use it and you grab power. Only if you know you can offer solutions. Not if you know that you superimpose yourself and you continue the same madness happening before now. How can it be that you call yourself a group, and if within this group we can make this decision? Please listen to this. Make this decision. Don't you know people will be begging you to join your union? Okay, this is your new nation. This is my identity now. And from today on, if we swear you in as a governor, you only have 2 cars. 2. One where the governor will stay, he will sit maybe with the wife, or I don't bloody care. Second car for protocol, third car for security, three cars. That's it. No governor in this region, in this, if it becomes a regional government, no governor in this region shall drive more than three cars. A law, you sign it the day you drive four, you are impeached. No deputy governor will drive more than two cars. No governor will build a house while in office. If you live in one face me and I face you at Awada, you must live in one face me and I face you till you leave office. But what do we have? We have thieves. 6 months into office, everyone, you watching me, everybody will be going to government house begging, and you see them driving. I just watch some of these convoys sometimes. I say, these guys are causing nuisance. Just causing nuisance. Even if you hear people are protesting now, where you see sometimes this convoy, you think, come on, I think we thought we had people making sense. How can we begin to praise our oppressors, those that run you, you, me, your mom, your dad, my dad, run them off the street when they drive their keke, their bicycles and their motorcycles, and we praise them. If we are serious, we begin to have a mindset of taking over and bringing governance to the people. And how you do it, you minimize cost. Use all this money for this year, useless Lexus, buying exotic cars. Use them to fix. There are streets, there are roads that our common sense could do. When governance get to that level, if we mustn't use asphalt, bitumen and chippings. There are places you can get maybe 20, normal, what they call ekereke. These are stones, normal stones that you get from Okigwe, these red stones, or from Olumba. You can use them with cement and do roads. For Christ's sake, we must begin to innovate. Let us not look at until a road is done, blah, blah, blah. All we need is the water to go on a particular channel that you are able to drive your car, not to drive on potholes. We are not a developed nation, we are a developing nation. We must develop our own things that can guide us. Let us stop looking forward and think we can be there tomorrow. No, but we can solve our own problem. Many houses in my community they don't have borehole. What they do is they dig a round hole that makes it like an eggshell. That's why they don't break. They dig a round hole, even in my own house, 12 feet, 18 feet by 10. That's what I did. Plaster them 3 times. I did mine 4 times. Plaster them, collect your water, send them down. When you want to have your bath, you push them. It's a very rigorous way, but it solves your problem. Hey, if you don't have water, and to do a borehole costs about 7 million in my community, well, that one costs you less than 200,000, isn't it? You live like a king. You send your water down, you put it. So these are homemade solutions. And part of the solutions that I'm thinking in terms of governance is, because when you cut the cost of governance down, then you would have much more money to develop. And to tell you that the system is actually so warped, because if this system is really making sense, you could actually get, even if it's INEC, to do a continuous register, move this thing to banks, tie it to everybody who registers. It's linked to your voters register, probably linked to your national ID card, thereby national security. Every month, as long as you are over 65, not working, you get 200 or maybe 500 naira paid into your account. What that means is people would, because that money is going in and these are verified, so eventually, gradually within 10 or 20 years, you link everyone together. By doing that, you solve the issue of population growth that, suddenly we say we are 20 million and we don't know. And People, you come for election, people just register. Some people even register cows and children. There are things you can solve. These are homegrown, solutions we can use. Part of the solution, again, coming to the governors. Every commissioner, if you were driving keke before you became a commissioner, you drive keke. You only have car, not car loan. If you get a car, only from innocent. And make it a mandatory. Every single car that must be driven in this region must be from innocent. If you don't like it, walk. You have legs. We know the price. Get them a IVM, whatever, G5 or whatever they call it. It's not more than 10 million. So we know 3 of them, 30 million. That is for the governor. 2 for the distance for 4 years. You cannot change them. The cars are not just run like that. The factories in Nnewi, if any spares, is that you go and get them from Nnewi. So if we want and if we are serious, these are solutions. Local government chairman, use your or buy your own car. Do you understand? So by the time we do it, you see people, reduce the amount we pay these people. Honestly, you see that we will solve our problem. We don't need, if Nigeria say they don't want to kill their thieves, in your own, if you be a governor and you steal, we'll go to your village and hang you. A law, you sign it before you become a governor. Do it and see, let us see if we cannot sanitize the whole place. Nigeria is a mad country, and we are equally in our own region and joining them in that madness. I don't want to get upset because, we have solutions, but sometimes we kind of try to ignore these solutions and look into things that doesn't make sense. So let me get back to the comments. Wisdom, Biafra should be what we have to work stronger from Edo State down. See, the challenge is, I have had serious conversations where people from Edo tell you they were never part of the old Eastern region, and therefore they are not even, remember they are Midwest. Don't worry, so they were Midwest, so they cannot join you. So, don't create problem that does not exist. Alfred Christopher, start doing it and stop talking rubbish against Biafra agitation. Okay, Alfred Christopher, thank you very much. That's your opinion. Opinion is free. PDP is not a good opposition. In fact, they are the same thief politicians. Well, I keep saying it. There is no difference between PDP and APC. Whenever there is a conflict, the legal thing is to return to status quo. Since Nigeria has failed, the best thing is to return to status quo, which is Biafra. That's correct. You have a lot of background idea and point, but the idea is fantastic, but hard to implement. My dear, let me tell you, let me shock us. And I would make this in line with who is that? Alfred Christopher. I know you're in the US, and I will address you straight on. If you want to declare Biafra by 2023, you can. It's as simple as that. If you want to declare Biafra by 2023, you can. I won't spend much time on it, but I'll just give you a brief summary. Mobilize people. Get someone who believe in that concept. Someone who believes in that idea. Start with one state. Start with Anambra next year. Elect a governor. Ensure that there are hundreds of people in Anambra State that can get into the House of Assembly. If with Biafran ideology you control the House of Assembly in Anambra State, and within 1 year, You do these things I've outlined. You cut this cost. Everybody's seeing what this group is doing. You are not matching the street. From that state, you move to another state. My brothers, give yourself 3 years. People will be asking you, I want to be part of this movement. Because seeing is believing. The problem is, when we're not involved enough, then you have this tendency that we do things haphazardly, and suddenly those that we ought to have stopped, because yes, listen, people, rigging happens when there is close proximity. If, for instance, in Anambra State that has about 2.4, 2.6 million registered voters, and a candidate is able to mobilize, let's say, 1.8 million, and out of 1.8 million, about 1.2 million votes a particular candidate, and your opposition or your opponent is getting about 200, there is limit to rigging. Why sometimes we rig is, because there is no way you can rig beyond the number of registered voters. Okay, so to Alfred Christopher, I don't know if you're watching. And once you do these things, my brothers, you come in and you control the whole Southeast. You have Southeast Governors Forum. You can rename it whatever you want. You have the people's mandate. The president is not going to arrest you. No one will arrest you. As long as you are elected, you have the right. If someone is elected a senator under a Biafran party in Anambra, Abia, Imo, or Ebonyi, you have the right to move a motion in Abuja, because that is the mandate of the people that sent you. Remember, Senator Nyabaribe was the only senator that has stood in the National Assembly and called the president incompetent when he was asked to withdraw the comment by a former Senate president, Abugara Sawaki. He said, no, my people, those that have elected me, thinks that the president is incompetent. By so doing, he has washed his hands. So go back to Abia State and ask the Abia people if they think the president was incompetent. And the voice of one single elected member is greater than many of us making noise, because he can talk. He has a direct mandate, electoral mandate, recognized mandate. You and I might not be happy with it, but the mandate is there. So I hope I have addressed the issue. So again, opinions are free. You can hold whatever opinion that you think, is free. Let me read more and more. 2 comments. Sometimes I'm thinking if Nigeria is really a zoo or a country. I don't think you want to know what I'm thinking. Nigeria is not a country. That's all I can tell you. Because things that are happening in Nigeria cannot happen in a country. So that's all I can tell you. Ramsey Ezibo, Mazi, greetings from Belgium. Oh, Belgium. I used to live in Belgium in my student years. I used to live in Cannes, Limburg. I lived in Limburg and I went to university in Maastricht. So every morning I would cycle from one country to the other just to save money. No be no be for mouth. Kevin Obija, very good. Yeah, thanks, my brother. Music group, why is the Fulani not focused on nation building? Honestly, it is a question. 106D Crafts Music Group. It's something that I have asked myself, Maybe the reason why the Fulanese are not focused on nation building is because of the nomadic nature, because they move. But Igbos is also move. The difference is that Onyi Igbo moves from Anambra, from Imo, from Ebonyi, and he goes to Katsina. After a while, if he settles down, he wants to bring his wife, his kids, and he wants to settle and build there and live a good life. But it appears, in the other way around, it's not the case. Please, brother, I'm interested in knowing how to do blogging so I can start. Okay, so I will either Ikechuku, I will say you can drop me an email at njenjemedia@gmail.com. I would gladly put you through. Hillary Mokuno Road is fantastic in that country. Okay, nothing is working. Yes, nothing is working. Okay. So again, people, so much comment now. As long as Nigeria is still one, there is no way change will work. That's why I've told us the concept of regional governance. The concept of regional governance, because if we understand what Aburi Accord meant, Aburi Accord, I don't know, I don't think many of us have actually taken time to read the content of Aburi. Aburi Accord meant that regions, or rather, before even Aburi Accord, 1963 Constitution meant, we had the Eastern region. You had, everyone had their region. They can develop on their own pace. So and that's, that is the barest minimum. So if we are not able to get that, please, it's not too much to ask that we go our own way. Let us just divorce. It's not by force to be together. You cannot marry a woman and every morning you beat the woman up and you tell the woman not to cry and not to divorce. No. The injustice is disheartening. It's more than enough. It's not too much if we ask ourselves if we cannot live together, let us call it a quit. Please, call it a quit. I am for it. Let us call it a quit. And I believe we will do much better if we call it a quit. We will. We will. PDP and APC are the same. I mean, this is 6 and half a dozen. In my worldview, they are one and the same. Chooks, Justin, Mazi, thanks for your care, but without fear of God. Listen, without fear of God, yes, but we can make laws to checkmate these things. I don't care if it's, listen, read my lips. If it is a guardian religionist, if it is a traditionalist, if it is a ordinary person that will bring succor, please bring it on. Bring it on. Okay, so let's not be too religious, sentimental about it. Okay, so Emeka Umunna says, okay, you should understand that there is same criminal that are oppressing us on one controlling the whole electoral system. Yes, Emeka, to some extent. You see, the reason why I say to some extent is when you want to fight a system, you need to understand that system and redesign another system to fight the system. And in redesigning that, what my proposition still remains that if it's about vote, remember, people say your vote don't count. Now, why do you think they pay you to collect your vote? If your vote doesn't count, they don't need to pay you any money. Things are changing. We need to be in tune. Because suddenly your vote is amounting to something. That's why they will go and hide and offer you some money in order to, entice you and influence you to vote for them. If they think that your vote is not counting, they won't pay you a dime. They will do the way they did in 1999, 2003, and probably 2007. But because technology is helping to cope that, so what we can do is to You know, it's like injecting an antibody in a body that is already infested. So what we can do is to use the mass, you know, use the mass to inject into it, overwhelm the system. It will collapse. Overwhelm the system with that shock, it will collapse. However, the danger is knowing people who are genuine. Because you might say, okay, who has the Biafran ideology to come and to come and govern? Everyone will say, oh, I am. But if they go there, they still make the same. However, that's one thing we need to do before. Take care of the basics. If Mazi Ezeoke wants to be the governor of Anambra State under this condition, these are conditions you need to sign. The day you build a house in your village until your tenure ends, the house will impeach you with immediate effect. The day you do this, do you understand? So we'll put checks and balances. We can do it. We can do it. Let us start with one state. You can do monthly. We know 2 point, let us do online governance, for instance. That every month, every single thing generated, every single expenditure 150,000 was used by local government chairman in Ihiala to buy petrol. It is online. You can go in there and get it. So every month, everything is done. If private companies can do it, we have systems. We don't need to reinvent any way. It's just a question of going into, there is OpenGov. It's a free platform. No, even, all you need to do is just to customize, is you customize it to the place you want. So you can basically go and make things very transparent. And the moment things go transparent, you see thieves don't come there. The moment things go transparent, thieves don't come there. You need an air condition. You see, an air condition, and you know that if you buy this air condition from LG will give you 3 years warranty. You tell LG to come and install. And with 3 years warranty, in a year and 6 months, the air condition packs up. For Christ's sake, it's your maintenance department that will just need to call LG, come and fix this bloody thing you put here that's just packed up. But in doing that, you have put maybe 15 people out of business who before they will put in their bid, and from an air condition you buy like 180,000 or 150,000, they will supply them at 1.3 million because they will cut. So at the end of the day, you see big men, everybody, big tummy, driving fat SUVs. They are living on your money. They are living on my money, our collective money. But you and I have the power to stop it. And we can't stop it. That's my take, Emeka. No matter how we vote, there would still anyway. I think I've explained that it's. I assume the Fulani Caliphate want to host their kingdom in Imo State. Imo State is, quite unfortunate, like Abia State. I was thinking Abia State was the most unfortunate state in the Igbo nation. But what has happened in Imo State recently begins, I don't know, it appears Imo and Abia are basically competing the rock bottom. The rock bottom. Someone who was given. Now, you and I can go to America, buy cars. The cars cannot come to, the last time I imported a car into Nigeria that came through Onea Wharf was in 2003. Today is 2010. Is it 2020? Fuck. That's about 17 years. So 17 years, instead of progressing, we are retrogressing every single day, going down. We are going down every single day. We are not making any progress. That's the challenge. We should be able to be using Calabar. We should be asking Hope Uzodinma, why did you not dredge the Calabar that the federal government gave you the contract, $12.6 million to dredge? Why did you not do it? Was that one also done by Fulani Caliphate? No. By our own brother, who is now governor, and people are jubilating. The day he was sworn in and everyone jubilating, I'm like, now, wow, our redemption too far. Because I could not imagine that we have that number of people still jubilating. I do not believe. I couldn't believe my eyes. So today, Imo State, the protest is happening, and we must support Imo in any way we can, literally, in any way we can. Let them, if PDP would wake up, if Imo State would be a wake up call for PDP, then they say today, Tata Bubo, but it's not yet to Uhuru, because I am not happy with PDP. PDP has been in sleep. They've been snoring because they are nothing like an opposition party. Someone said, well, they have a different methodology of the opposition, or playing opposition politics. Well, maybe because they have a lot of fat tummies politicians. That's why they probably cannot hit the street. So their own methodology is quite different. Well, to them, but I don't know. So at the end of the day, whatever is happening, and okay, look at it now. PDP is already in crisis. Secondus is calling for people to come and protest. While Atiku Abubakar is saying, okay, the Supreme Court is final, they have to accept the result. You see, how can you sing from two different hymn sheets? Is it not better he said nothing than say that they will accept that your national chairman is calling people out to protest? So let's see what's going to happen today, unless we have learned the lesson of Hong Kong to protest on weekend. That means when we learn that, that means we are getting serious. So we can go to work from Monday to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we protest. Well, it's equally good. There is nothing like the law of God in governance. My brother, Ululu case, yes, I agree. Human face to human problem. I agree with you. The solution to our problem, to a large extent, include the galvanization of people and leaders. Only those that have not sold out, so sing the song. You see, in Igbo, there is an Igbo adage that said, so we don't know which one that has tummy ache. So everyone might come out and say something, but it's not so many people have the antecedents. I told us many years ago, that was in 2006, 2007, how I think the whole thing, the schools in my community was unbelievable bad. I mean, not only criticized, I got involved and the schools got repaired. Beyond that, I had the template was used across Anambra State. Go back, if you're from Anambra, go back to all your community, go check schools repaired between 2007 and 2012. You see, because it's, these are ideas, these are things that we can do without necessarily waiting on whoever, because, a 7 classroom block could be repaired with 5 to 7 million. So a government can do it. And if we continuously do it, if every government was doing 1 classroom block a year in a community, we'll have 177 block communities. What that will mean that in 10 years' time, there will be no school in Anambra State that doesn't have a new shape. And one was able to do it. So if Mazes okay is able to do it and push for that to happen in my state, you can. It's not skyrocket science. It's only sometimes when you come close to those in power that you know how empty and hollow and shallow they are. I'm telling you honestly, because you think they know them all, and you come close to them, you find out now what we even doing here. But anyway. As Dike Chinonso will say, Biafra must be free. Nothing good comes out of immoral people, no matter how strong they are together. I think these guys are now arguing between Chooks, Justin, and Ululu case. Mazin Ngwere Nkisiya de Nala. Maazị nke ngwere isi ya dị n'ala nke ahụ ka afọ na-arụ. Okay, So, people, and I don't know if there is any other thing. If not, I will call it a quit. It's now an hour, and I never intended to go beyond 1 hour on this. But I think I've touched on wide array of things. So, one thing that we have to do is that we must keep this broadcast. So let's try to keep it and make a date. Before I was trying to do it every Sunday, but the challenge I have is that I travel a lot. So most times I might be in a different time zone that I do not have time to, you know, do the broadcast. So, but I would try as much as possible, at least minimum once every week, to engage with you and see what we think, discussing the topic ranging on that week. So for today, I think so far so good. Think about the things I said. If we can come together, think about it. At the same time, think about how, if we come together, how we can upsurge the system, how we can take the system by surprise. Imagine where everyone who listens to what we say gets their acts together. We get people who can actually get to the National Assembly and demand for those things that you and I think. Why is Enina very beloved today? Only one thing. Because Enina Baribe says the things you and I think. That's why he has won our hearts. No one, no one ever remembers that Enina Baribe was once the deputy governor to Ojus Okalo, who is now in prison. No one remembers that because Enina Baribe has won his heart upon us. So in the same vein, we can, if we organize ourselves. The challenge will be if we only stop and only criticize, we will make no progress. But as long as we criticize, we take the necessary steps to getting this, the situation that we found ourselves corrected, then there might be um, a very good ending for us. If not, the future might be bleak. The future, I repeat, might be bleak. Because if a section of this country is against Amotekun, and if the Yorubas are fighting to have it legislated, the only blame I have for the Yoruba nation, whom I thought were smart people, was how dare you go on air and announce so elaborate with fanfare, with so much noise, something you haven't legislated? You see, where I talk about tax, strategy, a hunting lion doesn't make noise. He sneaks in without the prey noticing what is happening until it gets close, then he jumps. Anambra State government under P2P was able to get the Anambra State Vigilante Law passed in the House of Assembly of Anambra State without making noise. Even the Eye of Fayoshe that many people in Yoruba land doesn't like was smarter than what the mistake they've done now. Eye of Fayoshe was able to get the state assembly in the peak of the invasion of Ekiti State. He got them to pass the what's it called, hunters whatever. He had a bill, so you couldn't do anything because it became a state law, and the constitution recognizes only three tiers of government: the federal, the state, and the local government. Now, if the federal law says you can form your, neighborhood watch. Now the question is, Why would the Yorubas make so much noise and fanfare for something that they haven't done their homework properly? That is the only thing that I cannot understand. And merely, Anambra State has over 170, about 177 communities, and Anambra State bought during that time over 200 vehicles for only one state, yet the whole Yoruba nation bought only 120 trucks, and the media was about to be exploded. Some of you who do not understand strategy were saying, I see Igbo governors, everybody is just. No, you forgot. Ugwuanyi in Enugu State founded and bought vehicles, both from Innocent and from Toyota, the Forest Guard, and the Enugu State Vigilante as well. There wasn't so much noise until those things were done. Now, what they will do now from this week coming in, each state in the Yoruba nation will now go back and start doing what they ought to have done ab initio. Because if they had done those things at state level, coming together to say they launch a joint whatever, when whoever says, well, these are state laws, these are the laws, establishing these things. Be that at this man says, okay, no matter whatever, yes, mistake has been made by the Yorubas, but be that at this may, I still support the action, because if you're not a thief, why should you be worried if I buy a dog to guide my house? If you're not a diabolic man who is trying to plant charms around my house, why should you be bothered if I decided to put solar street lights around my house? If you're not a diabolic person, or if you're not the one stealing my meat in my pot of soup, why would you be bothered if I put too much pepper in my own pepper soup that I will eat? You see? So I can only tell us in conclusion, those that cry foul about Amotekun are the ones causing the havoc befalling the nation so far. It is a very common and a basic deductive analysis. Once more, this is Mazes. Okay. Peace out. When enjoy your Saturday, I'll be a Sunday. So that's it, people. I hope I was able to, keep us, kind of. I hope there were one or two things you're able to learn from our time today. And thank you, everyone that has taken time. I think Emi Sami was the first person to join in. I think Emi Sami was the only source person, press person. And I thank you all for tuning in. We'll try to keep a date with us in this channel. Remain blessed and enjoy your Sunday.